The Japanese team have got some potential to make it through to the knockout stages of World Cup 2022. Yes, that is right. Today we are going to be talking all about the Japanese national team. My name is Eric, and basically we're going to be going through this very exciting team who have been drawn into one of the groups of death: Spain, Germany, Japan and Costa Rica. Have they got what it takes to make it out? That is what we're going to be answering today. So let's start off by looking at their past World Cup performances. Japan did not participate in any of the World Cups until 1998, where they were knocked out at the group stage and actually finished as the 31st out of 32 worst team in the tournament. So that wasn't the best. However, that was their first World Cup. It was a step up for Japanese football as they were hosting the 2002 World Cup, where they made it to the round of 16. That was not too bad. And then in 2006, another group stage exit. So look, they're starting to become a regular. 2010, another round of 16. That's 4 World Cups in a row. 2014, this one I actually watched. I was very young. Group stages. And in 2018, they got out in the round of 16. Now, let's focus on those last 2 World Cups in particular. So, Japan, 6 World Cups in a row. This will be their 7th ever appearance. 2014, group stage. So, they lost 2-1 to Ivory Coast. They drew 0-0 to Greece. And then they lost 4-1 to Colombia. That wasn't a very good tournament for the Japanese, and they better move on from that. 2018 was so much better. Started off beating my beloved Colombia 2-1. Disaster. Juan Quintero still scored a banging free kick. And then, of course, Japan drew to Senegal 2-2 before losing to Poland 1-0. And on fair play rules, advancing to the knockout stages where they got knocked out in the last minute 3-2 by Belgium. So, has this team got what it takes to at least get to that round of 16 again? They've been there 3 times before, 3 times knocked out in the group stage. Which way will this one go? And can they go further than the round of 16? Potential. Who knows? So, let's look at their qualification process, because this will give us big intel into what Japan are actually like. They started their qualifying with a terrible 1-0 loss at home to Oman. Right, this was a disaster class, and people were beginning to ask questions about the Japanese national team, as Oman is not one of the highest rated teams in the world. Then they went and beat China 1-0 in China. Yuya Osako scored the goal. That looks so much better. However, then they lost away to Saudi Arabia 1-0 again. And you can see they're struggling to score goals at this stage. You know, 1 goal in 3 games. Don't have a goal scorer. Then it got so much better from there. 2-1 victory over Australia was, I mean, Australia is World Cup opposition, so at home, fantastic game. Then they went on to beat Vietnam 1-0 away, and then they beat China 2-0 yet again. Then they got their revenge on Saudi Arabia 2-0 before finishing off with a 2-0 victory over Australia and a draw to Vietnam. So, I mean, very successful ending to the World Cup qualification campaign. The start was very shaky. They also did get their revenge over Oman away 1-0. So, this Japanese team, as you can see, they've been doing well. You know, qualification, they didn't win the group. They didn't win their qualification group. That obviously went to Saudi Arabia. And Takumi Minamino and Yuya Osako both scored 10 goals. They were their top goal scorers. Yunya Ito with 6 goals, also very, very good. Ito, very pacey, not really a goal scorer, but very pacey. And Daichi Kamada, 3 goals. Kyogo Furuhashi, also 3 goals. So, it's not a bad team. We're starting to see in this qualification campaign that this Japanese team is better than it was in 2018 and in 2014. So, it's getting a lot better now. Now I'm going to talk about the danger man. The man you all need to watch out for, because the guy is on a blinder this season, right? Daichi Kamada, he will be on screen for you. Kamada for Eintracht Frankfurt, 7 goals and 3 assists in the Bundesliga this year, right? Absolutely fantastic. In the Champions League, he's banging them in, 3 goals in 6 games. And for Japan, he is the engine, the midfield, the creator spark, whatever you want to call it. The midfield maestro is Daichi Kamada, and he will be the one to watch out for Japan here. There's other guys like Takumi Minamino, leaving my beloved Liverpool to Monaco. Kaoru Mitoma, at Brighton made a stunning start there. The likes of Ito at Roms, and then the Celtic striker, Daizen Maeda, and you also cannot forget the wonder kid that we were told about a couple years ago, but now he's already 21 and he hasn't really lived up to expectations. Takafusa Kubo as well can be a big impact. Defensively, Takahiro Tomiyasu of Arsenal, also very, very good. It's a good side, right? We can see this is a good side. However, it does have some weaknesses. Number one, height. They are very short. Most of these players are not very tall. Okay, going forward and defensively, height could be a little bit of an issue if you're playing against teams who are very tall. For example, I'm just going to think of Poland, for example, but they're not even in their group. But I'd say Costa Rica, they're quite tall. So that could be one issue, right? Especially if they don't put the taller players on the pitch as well. Issue number two, goalkeeping position. Kawashima, Gonda, and Schmidt. I'm not sure they're really good enough, okay? And also defensively, apart from Tomiyasu, you can't really see the big names, right? However, we're beginning to see this is a team that has something. Now, the manager, Hajime Moriyasu, 54-year-old. He's been at the helm of Japan since the end of the last World Cup, so he wasn't there in 2018. He is there for this World Cup. I think he's done a good job so far, and this will be the World Cup where we can see what he can get this Japan team to do. So, I mean, they finished 1 point behind Saudi Arabia in qualifying, so they're a very competitive side. They can compete against very, very good teams. Now, what can they do against the likes of Spain, Germany, and Costa Rica? Because these are very, very good teams. And historically, Japan is a team that, in World Cups, beats the teams they're supposed to beat and loses to the teams they're supposed to lose to, which in theory means they're going to finish third, lose to Spain and Germany, and beat Costa Rica, because I do think they are slightly stronger than Costa Rica. However, Daichi Kamada, as I've said before, mate, he could be the guy that changes this around. Now, the one thing that's good for Japan, well, it's not normally good, but because it's a World Cup that's not in Japan, their away form was better than Saudi Arabia's and was actually on level with Iran. So they actually, in qualifying, had the best away form in Asia. Their home form was worse than Australia, worse than Saudi Arabia, but it was worse than Korea and Iran. So away, they're quite good. So this will be at a neutral ground. I think they'll like that more. And they've got a lot of these quick players. Ito, Mitoma, running down the wings, Minamino. Let's see what that can bring them. However, now I will give my predictions. Spain, Germany, Costa Rica, and Japan. I think that Spain are going to win the group. I've said that clearly. I think that Costa Rica will finish bottom. I think they could get something, but I don't think it'll be enough. So it's between Japan and Germany for that second spot. And I think that the Germans will be just enough to edge the Japanese out and get second place. Japan will get third. However, if Spain or Germany underestimate this Japanese team, the story is entirely different. They've been at the World Cup 6 times. They've had a decent end to qualifying. They've got some very, very good players, a decent manager. Mate, it's just that they're coming up against some powerhouses. But if they underestimate them, don't be surprised if Japan make it out of this group and shock some people. Anyway, that is my video about the Japanese national team. Let me know down below in the comments what national teams would you like to see next. I've got a couple planned. I'm not going to be doing like Brazil and Argentina, the big boys that everyone knows about, but the interesting ones, Japan, Ecuador. I'm probably going to do a Uruguay video because they're a very interesting side. You know, potential underdogs and underachievers. Well, the teams that everyone's talking about. There will also be World Cup predictions coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.